out there. This is Leigh with Coda Country, and today I'm joined by Aaron Brown. How are you doing today, Aaron?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here. How are you?
I am so good. So, listen, tell all of our listeners out there how they can find you on social media. Where are you located? What are you up to right now?
So, I am from a small town called Baxley, Georgia. So, it's about an hour from Statesboro, an hour and 50 from Savannah. So, we're right in the southeastern part of Georgia. And you can find me mostly on Instagram, Aaron Brown Music _, and then I'm trying to get the TikTok thing rolling right now. So it's Aaron Brown Music 21, I think. So just look up Aaron Brown Music, or just look up the sound Aaron Brown Breaking Hearts, and they'll lead it right to you. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Aaron. Yeah, okay, so that's how I got to know Aaron for the listeners out there who haven't listened to him before. He has a song out called Breaking Hearts with a buddy of his, Nate Baker. Um, and so tell us about that Tell us how you started writing that with him and how that came to
man, let
be.
me tell you this. This is probably one of my favorite rides I have ever been a part of. It was just one of those nights. Say, hey, dude, what you doing? And I said, I got this night available, and I said, hey, let's ride, because I met him through my buddy Derek Flowers, excuse me. It was like it was one of those rides where it's right place, right time,
Hmm.
and I just had the idea. I just broke up with this girl through our situationship, so you call it.
Oh, yeah.
So I had the idea, and I said, hey, man, let's do this thing. And I said, Breaking Hearts. Let's see how it goes. We probably wrote that whole song maybe in under an hour. And I had the music and all for it. And I said, hey, man, I like this. Like, we wrote it. It just, like I said, right place, right time. Everything was flowing very well. And then we got done, and then we come up with that chorus. I always knew you was leaving. You never settled down for a reason. You're always stone on your own, all that stuff. And I had to explain this to a lot of people. This song's about a woman leaving you because you sing full time. Like, you're on the road all the time, and she thinks she's cheating on you. But there's a little secret I can't tell yet. We're going to get a
Mm.
woman's side of the perspective soon.
Oh,
So that's in the works. So we're going to try to get that open. But like I said, right place, right time. We wrote that song, and it was just magical. It was just everything flowing very well.
yeah, and it
And
recorded with some magic too. So
man,
I really enjoyed the song, man. It's pretty
yes,
great.
thank you.
Yeah, of course, of course. Tell me what else you're working on right now. Like I know
So
we
right
talked
now,
before. Yeah.
man, there's a lot of stuff that I've been working on lately. I actually thought about doing a country rock thing right here. I thought about
Hmm.
doing a little, because like if you know me, if you listen to my music, I'm an old school guy. I love the honky tonk, steel
Hmm.
guitar, violin type stuff. That's me. But I do have a rock side to me. I do like to sing the hearty stuff in my live shows. So, I do have I have to explain that later on about my influences. But
Right.
I thought about doing a thing like what Hardy done with Mockingbird and the Crow, but it's two different songs. I
Hmm.
thought about giving two sides of a story about a love story that I went through. So there's the sad song with the honky tonk stuff. Then the next song that I plan on doing this later on, but doing the sad song, and then the next song is going to be a country rock. Going to see the rock side of me and see like the
Hmm.
angry side of the breakup. So maybe we can get that in. Maybe we can get that recorded. My buddy Lucas Woodgear, my producer from Macon,
Hmm.
dude's absolutely insane with production. Man, love that dude. Big shout out to him.
Hmm.
But thought about doing that, and then I wrote a song with my buddy Josh Terry from the Josh Terry podcast. We wrote a song called Whiskey Days back in March of last year, and that's, man, probably one of the saddest songs I've ever been a part of. That song is so sad.
Hmm.
It's about getting broken up with, and it's one of those honky tonk songs. Man, I really think we plan on recording that maybe in around May, putting that out in May. So I'm getting ready to record it maybe. And then I got a bunch of stuff. I wrote a lot of songs with Nate and a lot of other guys that I write with. So there's a bunch of songs that haven't been recorded, but you never know what's going to happen this year. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of stuff planned, and the sky's the limit.
Oh
I'm
yes,
excited to hear that country rock because yeah, it's very much. Um, it kind of seems like where country music is starting to flow these
yeah,
days. You've got
right,
a lot of guys that are really hitting on that. So I
yes.
think you're on the money with that one. So tell me, being a Georgia boy, I'm a Georgia girl.
Mhm.
Um, Where is your favorite place to perform in Georgia? Like, where do you have a favorite venue that you've like maybe a local place that you've played recently or?
I'm I'm really big on the college towns just because of the
Mhm.
energy that it
Oh yeah.
brings.
Mhm.
Um, my favorite place actually was a rock festival I played at last year. It's
Ooh.
called the Scarecrow Music Festival. Shout out to Wally Silver and all those guys. They're like family to me. They're like a heavy metal type, like they're Metallica type stuff, which I like that because I grew up on that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But I really haven't played a lot of big things now because I'm very early in my career. I've only been doing this thing for maybe 2 or 3 years since right when COVID happened. Actually, is when I really got it going. Um,
Mhm.
Scarecrow last year I played the year before with a full band. This year I done it acoustic, and man, had a big crowd, and just having that crowd in the palm of your hand and just rocking it out, and they knew every word to every song I was singing. It's like, you guys are like, we're at Woodstock in '69 or something. Y'all should know Beer Never Broke My Heart, but my God, they did. And it was
That's
one of the most
awesome.
best and fun shows I've ever played. But I'll tell you one thing I want to do is play maybe like Blue Room in Statesboro,
Yeah,
like these
yeah.
college towns, like because like it's
Mhm.
just the energy. Because I was that kid, I was that college kid who went to these places like this
Mhm.
and watched Trey Lewis play and just
Wow.
experience all that stuff. And I call
Mhm.
Trey a good buddy of mine. I met him 2 years ago, and he's like a mentor to me. So going to those shows and then even seeing my buddies play, it's been a special thing, honestly. But a favorite place I would play is probably Scarecrow Music Festival. Probably my favorite place. But I really haven't played anything like enough to where it's like a favorite yet. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so going back to you touched on this a little bit whenever we were talking earlier about your influences and you talked about listening to some like Metallica growing up. Tell me, who are some artists that have really influenced your sound?
Keith Whitley's number one. Um,
Yes. Mhm.
His music's changed my life tremendously. Because it relates to me so much. Every song he's ever put out, it relates to me so much. Like a thing like the reason I started doing country is because I done the songwriting thing. Started in 2019, just dabbling. I was no good at it at all. I was just a young green as hell doing it. And I told Dad one Christmas, I was like, "Hey man, I want a guitar and I want to learn and do this stuff like full time. I want to pursue it." And I learned my dad's favorite song, which was "Don't Close Your Eyes" by Keith Whitley. And then once that happened, I learned to play that song, and I started listening to Keith all the time, which I did growing up, but it wasn't like what I am now. Listening to what I listen to now, oh my gosh, it changed my life. Like, "Would These Arms Be in Your Way," "Miami, My
Mhm.
Amy,"
Yeah.
"Between an Old Memory and Me." Oh my gosh, I would probably cry if I had enough whiskey in me and listened to that all night. But yes, Keith Whitley's number
Yeah.
one. Chris Stapleton would be number two.
Mhm.
Songwriting wise, Chris is just unbelievable. Um,
Agreed. Mhm.
Number three, I actually have two categories. I have like a songwriting category and an artist category.
Oh
So
yeah, you should. Definitely, definitely.
three would have to be probably Cody Johnson. Because
Mhm.
that's my
Mhm.
style, like that honky tonk Texas sound. I love that
Oh yeah,
sound.
I definitely hear that a lot. Definitely.
Yeah, songwriting wise, Willie Nelson, number one
Yeah.
for me. Willie Nelson's
Oh.
one of my favorite songwriters of all
Mhm.
time. What sold me on him being number one was back when he was writing for Patsy Cline and Ray Price back in the 50s.
Mhm.
Just like Crazy. Oh my gosh, by Patsy Cline. One of the most
Yeah.
prettiest songs I've ever heard in my life. Willie Nelson wrote it.
Mhm.
Hardy's number two. Hardy and
Yep.
Morgan's running the game right now up in Nashville.
Yeah.
And Hardy, what sold me on Hardy was "Sign Sober You." That's one of the most cleverest songs I've ever heard. Ever. That's
It
probably,
really
and
is.
me and my buddy Lee Tucker from Nashville. I met him a couple weeks or months ago actually, and we talked about it the first time I met him. I said, "Sign Sober You" is probably one of the most best written songs. Probably back last year before Morgan done the Big Dangerous album and all that, and then you got that whole album, and then you got this whole new
Yeah.
album coming out, 36 songs.
Right.
Wow,
36 songs.
wow,
I
that's
know.
crazy.
It's wild.
Shout out to
Wild,
Big
yeah.
Loud, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, shout out to
Yes.
them. Gosh, I got another list. A producer, Joey Moy's my favorite producer of all time because he done the.
Yeah.
I didn't know this till a couple weeks ago. He done the Nickelback album, All the Right Reasons.
Yeah.
I didn't know that
Yep.
until a couple weeks
Hmm.
ago. I was like, oh my god,
He's been around for
a
a
long
long
time.
time
Yeah,
doing stuff that you probably had no clue about. Oh
insane.
my gosh. Yeah. That's a whole
Yeah,
thing. Awesome.
but number three will have be Vern Gosdin. He wrote
Hmm.
With These Arms Be in Your Way. He's got some pretty songs. Oh my gosh, I forgot to mention Vince Gill goes in both.
Yes.
Vince Gill goes in both. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be here all day talking about this stuff. Be honest with you.
And that would be fine with me,
Yeah.
I promise. So, okay, cool. Well, that gives us a little bit of taste into who your influences are. Do you think that your influences are different from who you currently listen to, or do your tastes change all the time, or what do you think? Are you like constantly listening to people who you are influenced by? Are you listening to new people all the time?
See, with my music genre, with what I do and what I listen to, it ranges based on the mood of the day. Like today, I
Hmm.
was listening to Buck Cherry before we got on here. So like today's a rock
Perfect.
day, so I was listening to Nickelback today and Buck
Hmm.
Cherry, and
Hmm.
even listened to Metallica this morning when I woke up. I don't know how that happened, but it just popped up on a
Starting the day
playlist. And
right.
then like yesterday, I
Yeah.
was listening to Wallen and Hardy and
Hmm.
all that stuff. So it really ranges. Do I listen to my influencers? Yes, because those are the people who's changed my life and I
Hmm.
pursue country music and what I do now because of them. Because they're like that's like the stepping stone to what I do is because Keith Whitley and his songs. You know how the story about Keith
Hmm.
Hardy. You see how he is nowadays. He's changing the game and testing new waters and all that stuff, which is insane to me, but amazing as well. So I listen to all types of stuff, like rock. I listen to rap sometimes if I'm in the mood. Country's all the time. It's 24/7 around this house. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it ranges. But yes, I do listen to my influencers all the time.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, from that list of people you gave me, or it can be just someone else, just in general, is there any artist living or like within the past 50 years who you really would love to go on tour with?
Stapleton, open up for him.
Hmm.
I would love to do that.
Hmm.
Um, of course, Wallen. Wallen just killing it.
Hmm.
I would love to do an opening spot for him. Anywhere, it don't matter. I would really like doing it in my hometown. Me and Wallen just doing the thing in my hometown would be
Yeah,
nice. Maybe Leonard Skinner. I actually thought about that. Maybe Leonard
that is
Skinner.
awesome. Yes,
Maybe doing something
yes.
like that.
You know, Yeah, I feel like you were talking about how Hardy, Wallen, they're kind of changing the game. Like I feel like Skinner during their heyday in the 70s like was really changing the game
Yes.
for Southern rock, and
Yes.
and maybe that's a little bit of an influence for you
Hmm.
too. Like that's
Yes.
awesome. Um okay, so I guess to close out our first little interview together, because I'd love to have you on more just to talk more about you in the future and
Sure.
everything that you have going on. Um tell me, what what events, what projects are you working on for the future? What else can we look forward to seeing from you in the next couple months?
So I'm actually in a transition period. I'm actually going to be moving up to Nashville this year. So we're
Wow.
going to be I'm going to be trying to get that underway and trying to get a nice
Mhm.
place to live because everything's so incredibly expensive in Nashville.
Expensive.
So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get everything. My biggest thing right now is I'm doing a bunch of live shows right now. I'm doing like a little last thing here in Georgia. I'm playing in Athens, Georgia next week. I'm playing at Flanagan's next week, so that's going to be a big show for me next week. Gonna have a bunch of fun. Then I'm doing a lot of local stuff. I'm playing a show. I actually put on my first show. Actually, my buddy Will Mosley, Laderick Flowers, and Nate Beck. We're doing a big Riders Round type show here in Douglas, Georgia, and on the 3rd. And a bunch of big stuff. And then going to be in the studio recording, like you said, the country rock thing and Whiskey Days for sure. I may pop up out of nowhere and come out with another sad song or a fast song. You never know.
Or both.
Or
I mean, we
both. You
like
never
all of
know.
it.
So a bunch of big things are happening for Aaron Brown Music and personally for myself. This has been one hell of a journey for me. And I've loved every second of it. So the biggest thing is getting up to Nashville. You know, I'm networking every day. That's one of the biggest things I've learned as a young guy is networking with folks, like
Mm.
networking with you or networking with different artists. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? That's the biggest thing. If I could
Mm-hmm.
give anybody, young artists, advice, that would be networking. So I'm doing that. But the
That's
biggest
awesome.
thing is trying to get up to Nashville, get my feet wet, and then see where my career goes from there.
Yeah, and I wish you all the best in
Thank you.
that. So, yes, of course, and I thank you just for taking time to have this quick little chat with me
Yes,
today.
ma'am.
Is there anything, anybody that you want to give one last shout out to or
Yes,
anything like
I want
that?
to give shout out to my team. Shout out to my manager Hannah Milliken. That she's like my best friend and sister all in one, and my boss lady all in one. She keeps me level headed, and she takes care of all my stuff for me. I love her to death. Shout out to her. Shout out to my boys, my riders, Nate Baker. Shout out to all the guys I ride with. Nate's one of my biggest riders I ride with, and shout out my guys up in Nashville, the guys I've met and all that stuff who's helped me out, like Justin Dukes, Ethan Phillips, Trey Lewis, all those guys. And that's about it, really. Shout out to my family; they've been my biggest supporters.
It sounds like your network is growing and growing, and
That's
I
what's up.
really, really wish you
Thank
some
you. I
luck,
appreciate
of
that.
course. All right, well, until next time, this is Leigh with Coda Country, and you heard it here with Aaron
Yes,
Brown.
ma'am.